Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and I want to share with you my top 10 tips and tricks for getting the most out of the new Huawei Mate 20 Pro. Let's kick off with performance mode. In the battery settings, you can enable this to basically unlock the full power of the phone. It will drain the battery quicker and the phone can get a little warm, but if you want the best performance and the highest frame rate in games or in more demanding apps, then turn on performance mode and you're good to go. But let's move on to a few tips that will actually improve the already excellent battery life on the Mate 20 Pro. The first thing I would do is darken the interface colors, which if I'm honest looks nicer anyway. Just tap to enable it in the battery settings and you'll see the settings and the notification bar turn from white to black, which should use a little bit less power because of the AMOLED screen. The Mate 20 Pro has a Quad HD Plus resolution, and while this does mean everything is super sharp, the higher res will drain the battery a bit quicker. So in the display settings, you can drop it down to Full HD Plus, or if you prefer, you can enable Smart Resolution, which automatically lowers it when you need to save power. If I'm honest, you can't really notice that much of a difference unless you bring the phone right up to your eyes, so I tend to leave Smart Resolution turned on. So the Mate 20 Pro has a huge 4,200 mAh battery. It's definitely possible to make this thing last 2 days. But if one of your friends is running low and their phone also supports Qi wireless charging and you're feeling generous, you can actually top it up using the Mate 20 Pro's reverse wireless charging. It's pretty cool. So that's a few battery and charging tips, but let's move on to a few things that I think make the phone even nicer to use, starting with gestures. The Mate 20 Pro runs the latest Android 9 software, which means you can swap the traditional Android nav keys for gestures. Swipe up to go home, swipe up and hold for recently used apps, and swipe in from the left edge to go back. It feels intuitive and you get some extra room back from where the nav keys used to be. And while we're on the subject of changing the look of the phone, if you're not a fan of that notch and you prefer a more symmetrical look to the Mate 20 Pro, in the display settings you can easily hide it, and because it's an AMOLED screen, you get those super dark blacks, so it blends in seamlessly with the notch and bezel. I do find that sometimes Huawei's animations can feel just a little bit long and therefore makes it feel not as fast as it could be, so to speed things up a little bit, I would recommend just jumping into the developer options and then reducing the animation scale times to half speed, and then everything just feels a little bit nippier. One of my favorite new features is the in-screen Fingerprint Reader. Jump into the security and privacy settings, tap Fingerprint ID, and then add a new in-screen fingerprint, which you can then use to unlock the phone. It actually works really well. I was surprised how consistent and how quick it is. I do also have Face Unlock set up though, which I tend to use most of the time, but it's good to have more than one option. Moving on to the camera, and the first thing I changed was the Ultra Snapshot mode. By default, if you double tap the volume down button, it opens the camera app and then takes a photo at the same time. But in the camera app settings, you can actually change this so it doesn't take the photo and it just becomes a quick launch for the camera. Now with more phones sporting taller screens and the fact that I love an ultra-wide monitor, it's great to see Huawei have added the option of being able to record widescreen 18:9 video. It's Full HD Plus rather than 4K resolution, but it does give you a cool cinematic look to your video, and you will have less pillar boxing around the video when watching it back on your phone in landscape mode. So that's just 10 of my favorite tips and tricks for the Huawei Mate 20 Pro. Of course, there's loads more cool features, and if you think I've missed a good trick, then let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I've put links to the Mate 20 Pro in the description if you want to check it out, and also make sure you click that like and subscribe button if you want to see more tips and tricks videos like this from me. And I'll catch you guys next time right here on the Tech Chat.